said, my name is Destiny. I will be teaching you the crash course. And everybody here, I'm going to assume, enjoys rum or alcohol at least, right?
Yep.
We're on the same page, right? Great. So, here in the Virgin Islands, we decided to make rum part of our entire personality besides tourism. Now, rum is our major export here. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of why it's our export, we have to first learn about its origin story. Yay! So, as I'm sure a lot of us learned in school, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 and discovered the New World. He landed over on our sister island of St. Croix, Salt River, on his first voyage. He loved it so much he decided to come around a second time, and on that second voyage, he brought sugarcane. And this video right here shows a sugarcane, shows St. Croix, and it usually shows the sugarcane itself, but it's looking at an aerial shot anyway. But yes, the sugarcane is in the same family as bamboo, except it tastes better. So that's important to remember. So these actually here are sugarcanes, and sugarcane can grow to be about 16 feet at maturity. Yeah. So the sugarcane actually thrives down here due to the fact that we have no interesting forms of seasons unless you count summer, not summer, almost summer, and hurricane season as fluctuating seasons. So because it's consistently hot year round, it thrives, it has good soil, plenty of water. It is super easy to plant, literally. You can just break off a piece, throw in the dirt, wait a year, you have a whole new crop just waiting to be eaten. Wonderful. So, because this crop becomes so popular, but it's so hard to harvest, there is the dark passive sugar production system, and that is the slave trade. So the Virgin Islands is one of the major stops on the triangular trade route, and as the plantations continue to pop up all across the Caribbean, more slaves are brought here, and so they would work on these fields. Sugarcane harvesting is a very long and labor-intensive job. As I said, it grows to be 16 feet tall. It's a very hard plant. So you have to harvest this plant, strip it of its bark, and then grind it through the grinder at the windmills. And that is where a large portion of the danger came from, because when you had these giant windmills, usually the wind would power it and you're all good. But on a day there is no wind, you have to hand feed the cane into the grinder, at which point you had one of two options if you happen to get caught in it. A, you finish being grinded, or B, you cut off your arm, or whatever part he's caught. So that raised the mortality rate of the slaves, and most slaves did not live longer than 7 years once they entered the field. So as the sugar production continues happening across the Caribbean, we end up owning the monopoly. 80% of the world's sugar came from here in the Caribbean at one point in time. Yes. And majority of these plantations were actually French, which is going to get really interesting in a really hot second. So as I'm sure a lot of you know, there was this huge war between America and the British, and the Americans took out a loan with the French that we hadn't paid back yet. If they pay it, I don't know. That's not me problem, that's a government issue, and I don't work for the government, so yay. But because the French had that bill that wasn't paid back, they were the ones with really light pockets. So they're looking at the plantation owners and like, hey, would you mind lowering the price of sugar? Marie Antoinette told us to eat cake, but like there's no sugar to make cake in the first place, and we really kind of want to have nice things in life because we're suffering. You mind lowering the prices a bit for us? And the plantations owners were like, oh, sorrows, prayers. That sounds like a personal issue. Figure it out. The French figured it out. So the French discovered the sugar beet, which is a locally grown crop. It's safer, cheaper, easier to harvest, and you don't have to worry about that boat full of sugar sinking at sea. So great for them, not great for us. Because they no longer need our sugar and our monopoly is crashing around us, we are going on a crash course diet with the 5 stages of grieving plus 3. So everybody's panicking. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Our sugar money is going dry. What are we going to do? Oh, we have the slaves and that funny thing they invented called the rum. So in order to make sugar, you're going to take the cane juice from the crusher, you keep boiling it over and over again. You get your sugar, you skim the top, what's left back is molasses, a waste product. Now this waste product would either be given to the cows to eat or used in construction. So you guys see a lot of stonework around here on Main Street especially. These buildings are held together by molasses, salt, and sand. And I'm going to assume it works really well because these are hundreds of years old, survived several hurricanes, fires, earthquakes, still standing. The modern engineers showed up and there's a pothole every 3 feet. You guys can do the math because I'm really bad at that, but I think the engineers have failed us. So now the molasses has become, the molasses rum is what's going to save our economy. So they start mass producing this rum, and because of the mass production, it becomes really popular, especially on ships, because rum is technically good for you, apparently. It gives you vitamin C, it helps you fight back against scurvy, so the sailors stop getting scurvy, they had happier thoughts, happier everything except their livers, I guess. No more mutiny. But because everyone's getting drunk on the ships, they started putting water in it, which gave them grog, which made them slightly less healthy, so then there was mutiny again. What a vicious cycle that was. But because it's especially popular over in America with the soldiers, once again, happy thoughts, unhappy livers, Washington especially grows to love rum because he paid a visit to a cousin out in Barbados, comes back, decides to have a few kegs at his inauguration party, at which point it becomes more American than apple pie. Great for them. So now we have this whole rum industry going on. We're happy once again. Our pockets are getting really heavy again. But then the French, once again, have an issue with that. Because the French are like, so the rum, it really burns. You got something a little lighter with the handle. And so like, wow, you guys are really delicate. We really can't help you with that. Figure it out. The French figure it out. Oh. Well, thank you.
It's not rum.
It's not rum.
It's not rum.
No.
It's just water, but it'll help the cough.
I know. I was trying to illustrate something, but I appreciate the kindness. Demonstration what you should do drinking rum. Don't cough, then you'll have somebody hand you a cup of water, I guess. So yes, the French ended up inventing over in Antigua rum agricole, which is a pure cane rum. So as opposed to the molasses, they have the pure cane juice. And there's a few issues with that because though it's lighter, much lighter, it's sweeter, it's a softer taste. And according to my friend who drank an entire bottle for scientific reasons, you're not as hungover the next morning. I don't know if it's true. If you guys decide to go do that, give me the results afterwards. I trust your unbiased opinion in the fullest.
They tell the same story down in Key West. See, same story. If you just drink the regular pure cane rum like you're talking about, you don't get hungover.
Exactly, so there must be a science to it. I will let you guys test that out because I am on the clock unlike you guys. So this rum agricole, it becomes popular, but not as popular because if you don't have your molasses, you can't make your rum alongside your sugar money. So why just go into one market when you gotta have two? So only 3% of the rum market is actually going to be cane rum. And I say cane rum as opposed to agricole because there is an actual law that unless your cane rum is French made, it cannot be considered an agricole. You have to say just cane rum. Agricole and it's American, that's a hefty fine. How much is that fine? I don't know. I don't have to pay it and I don't want to find out. So as the rum continues to take over the market, we're going to actually learn more about how exactly it's made. So if you follow me this way, and we can look at all the nice diagrams. Feel free to take all the pictures you like, by the way.